We've all been there. You're trying to change a habit, or maybe you're trying to help someone else change, a kid, a coworker, a friend. And our first instinct is usually to just push harder, right? To apply more pressure. But what if the best way, the most effective way, is actually the most gentle one? Today we're going to dig into the surprising and frankly amazing power of soft change. So that really brings us to the big question. How do you inspire change that actually sticks? I mean, not just for a day or a week, but for good. Is it all about rules and consequences? Or is there a completely different, maybe even better way? At its heart, it really comes down to this choice right here. On one side, you've got forcing change. Think pressure, control, the classic sticks and carrots. And yeah, that can work for a little while. It gets you short-term compliance. But on the other side, you have guided change. This is all about choice, empathy, and support. The goal here isn't just compliance, it's to spark a lasting, genuine motivation. So let's explore two incredible ideas that really bring this to life. First up, let's talk about the outside-in approach. This isn't about forcing anyone's hand, it's about gently steering. It's the whole idea behind the nudge. This concept, from Nobel laureate Richard Thaler and Cass Sunstein, is just brilliant. Nudge theory is all about how we can design environments, what they call choice architecture, to make the better choice, well, the easier choice. And the key, the absolute most important part, is that no options are taken away. It's why they call it libertarian paternalism. A funny phrase, I know, but it just means helping people out while completely respecting their freedom to choose. So, how does a nudge actually work its magic? Well, it taps into the two ways our brains make decisions. We've got our automatic system, that's our gut reaction, our autopilot. It's fast and requires zero effort. Then there's our reflective system. That's the slow, deliberate part of our brain that really thinks things through. Nudges are designed to appeal to that fast, automatic system, guiding our snap judgments without us even realizing it. And here is the perfect, classic example. Imagine a cafeteria that wants people to eat healthier. They don't have to ban the French fries or the brownies. Nope. All they have to do is put the salads and the fruit right at eye level, right in the front. You are still totally free to grab that brownie, but you're just gently nudged toward the apple. It's a really subtle push from the outside. Okay, so if a nudge is a gentle push from the outside, what's the other side of the coin? This next idea is all about cultivating an inner pull. This is the incredible power of autonomy. This comes from something called self-determination theory, or SDT, developed by the psychologist Edward Deci and Richard Ryan. And the core belief of their theory is honestly kind of profound. It suggests that people don't actually need to be forced or bribed into doing the right thing. We humans have a natural, built-in desire to grow and do good things, if, and it's a big if, the right psychological conditions are met. So what are those conditions? Well, according to SDT, there are three universal needs that we all have. First, we need autonomy. That's the feeling that we are in the driver's seat of our own lives. We also need competence, the feeling that we're good at what we do. And finally, we need relatedness, that sense of connection to other people. When an environment supports these three things, real, genuine motivation just flourishes. And that right there is the key. Instead of pushing someone from the outside, this approach creates a space where a person can find their own reason to change. It's about fostering a sense of ownership, and that is the absolute bedrock of long-term commitment. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds really nice in theory, a soft approach based on autonomy. It sounds great, but does it actually work? Especially when the stakes are super high, and maybe the people involved are, considered difficult. Well, let's look at the proof. Back in 2013, a really fascinating study came out. Researchers went into a social rehabilitation center to work with a group of teenage girls who were facing some pretty severe challenges. Now, this is exactly the kind of tough environment where you'd think strict rules and control are the only way to go. So the researchers had an instructor teach a pretty tedious workshop using two totally different styles. The typical style was what you'd expect, using directives like, you have to do this, and really focusing on just getting them to comply. But the autonomy supportive style was different. The instructor explained why the task was important, gave the girls choices in how they did it, and showed empathy for how boring it might seem. So what happened? Honestly, the results were staggering. First, look at their negative feelings during this boring task. The girls in the autonomy supportive group felt way less anger, frustration, and anxiety. Their average score was just 1.82 on a 7-point scale compared to 3.37 in the typical group. That's a huge difference. The softer approach literally made a tedious task feel better. But it gets even better. Did it just change how they felt, or did it change their perspective?
Well, when they were asked how important the task was, the autonomy group rated its value way higher, over 5 out of 7, compared to just 3.4 for the other group. By respecting their choice, the instructor actually helped them see the value in what they were doing.
And get this, incredibly, they even liked the boring task more. They rated it almost a 5 out of 7 versus just over 3 for the other group. So this soft approach didn't just make them feel less bad, it actively made them value and even enjoy a task that was designed to be totally uninteresting.
And the study's authors, I think, summed it up perfectly. They said that just because someone's behavior seems to be pulling for control, that doesn't mean that more control is what they actually need. In fact, this study completely flips the script on the common belief that tough cases need more rules and rewards. It shows the exact opposite might be true.
Okay, so the evidence is pretty powerful, right? But how do we actually do this? How do we have a conversation that builds someone up instead of trying to control them?
Well, one of the most powerful tools out there is a technique called Motivational Interviewing, or MI for short. It's really a way of talking with people that's less about giving advice and much more about asking good questions. It's all about helping someone uncover their own reasons to change by connecting that change to what they already value. It is literally self-determination theory in action.
And what MI understands is that change isn't a light switch, it's a journey. Someone might be in pre-contemplation, where they don't even see a problem. Or maybe they're in contemplation, where they know they should change but just feel stuck. The goal isn't to drag them to the finish line. It's to walk alongside them, meet them where they are, and help them find their own reason to take that next step, whenever they're ready.
So let's bring this all together now. From the gentle nudge of a well-designed environment to the deep inner pull that comes from feeling in control of our own lives, we've seen that the most powerful ways to inspire change are often the softest.
And this really is the core takeaway. Supporting someone's autonomy, their sense of choice, isn't just some fluffy, nice thing to do. It's not about being weak. As the science clearly shows, it is a smart, powerful, evidence-based strategy. It's the difference between forcing someone to comply for a little while and inspiring them to commit for a lifetime.
So to quickly recap what we've covered, we can design our world to gently nudge us toward better choices. Real lasting motivation comes from feeding those 3 core needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. We learn that even in the absolute toughest situations, a soft, supportive approach is often way more powerful than a controlling one. And finally, we have practical tools like motivational interviewing that help us put all these ideas into practice.
And that brings us to a final thought for you to take with you. As you go about your week, just think about this. Where in your life, whether it's for yourself or for someone you care about, could a softer approach, a gentle nudge, or a conversation that respects their autonomy make all the difference in the world? You might just be surprised by the incredible power you unlock. Thanks for joining me for this Explain.